Welcome to LettiSpeaks, where we turn pain into passion and find meaning through experience. Every day is a new day to find joy in the moment and live life abundantly. We speak and we listen and we don't take it lightly. Let's jump in and see what Spirit has to say. Hey there, welcome to my channel. Tonight, we're just going to open up for a discussion and take a look into things like identity, right? From different perspectives. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Please like, share, comment if you are resonating with the content. If you are new, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate that. If you're returning, thank you for stopping back by. Go ahead and hit that like button, right? If you have returned several times, hit the like button, right? I feel like you keep coming back for a reason. So hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything, right? If you're somebody who is looking for a personal read, you are more than welcome to click on the link in the description for my calendar, and you will definitely see the types of readings that I'm offering and ways that you can schedule an appointment for either one of those offerings. If you are somebody that are just looking to support the channel, maybe you're not wanting a personal read, but maybe you want to support the channel and help it to grow, show your appreciation as a form of love, right? There's a couple of links below where you can do that as well. All forms of interaction is appreciated. You being here is greatly appreciated. Thank you. I can't say how much I appreciate that, but I will tell you thank you. And so, welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. And so, let's see how people are seeing you. Who do people think you are? Let's see. Not that that's important, but you know, it's always interesting to see how people are viewing you. Let's see. I'll be using several of my tarot decks as well as several of my oracle decks as well. How are people seeing my viewers? Not everything has to resonate. Take what's yours, leave the rest. Don't try to make it fit. Right? Let's see. How are people seeing you? How do people see you? So people could definitely be seeing you as someone who is highly favored, someone who never seems to stop achieving or stop reaching for what it is that you feel called to or what you want. People could see you as someone who is always up-leveling, someone who's always coming forward in a new way, possibly surprising people, someone who is always growing and changing in some type of way. People could also see you as someone who is gifted, right? They could see you as someone who has spiritual gifts. Like you could be someone who is seen as some type of prophet or an oracle. People could be seeing you in that way. People could see you as someone who is definitely a go-getter, someone who always hits their target and never misses. People could see you as someone who Doesn't really hold on to things or people. Like you're someone who easily moves from place to place. And someone that doesn't hold grudges or try to hold on to things. Somebody who is, they could see you as someone who is detached. People could also see you as someone who is very easygoing. Someone that does not really identify with form, right? You could be someone that says the phrase, "it is what it is," often. People could see you as someone who, you could be someone who people sees as liking to get together and have tea, you know, not literally, but you know what I mean when I say tea. Like you're someone who likes to get together to talk. So people could see you as very social and someone who is always up to date on like the latest gossip or the latest, you know, news or information. People could see you as someone very driven who hits their target. People could see you as someone who is very connected through different time, through different generations. Like you're someone who could actually connect to different generations very well. So for instance, you could be someone who is like 40 or over, but you connect very well with even teenagers, middle-aged people, and older people, right? You're somebody that connects well with time and with generations. People could also see you as someone who is very curious. You know, you're somebody who explores a lot and who's open to see different ways of being, different ways of thinking, and explore other thought forms. Like you're someone that people see as open and fluid. People could also see you as someone who holds a great deal of compassion and love. Like they see you as someone who is very connected to your heart. Yeah. So this is pretty nice. This is a lot of good aspects about how people could be seeing you. So what would people be saying right now about you? If you could be in the room when people were talking about you, what would they be saying? Let's see. Some people would be saying that you could be very heart-driven. You could have a very open heart, easily hurt, right? You could be someone, people are saying you're someone that get their feelings hurt really easy. People could also be saying that you actually see yourself in a very high light. People could see you, people could be saying that you think that you are better than other people, or that you carry this energy of Hasidiness. People could have discussions about you being really strong, right? They talk about what it is that you've been through, your experiences. That could be the talk when people are talking about you. They see you as someone who has overcome a lot of things. People could be seeing you as someone who is kind of set apart. Not necessarily detached from everyone, but someone who's actually set apart, right? For a purpose. So people could see you as someone who is consecrated to your spiritual journey. And for that reason, you take a lot of time to yourself, is what they're saying. For some of you, people are talking about the fact that you might be pregnant or that you are pregnant. People could also be talking about you starting something new, like a business, and calling it your baby. People could be talking about how you always get things your way, like you always have things your way. They just kind of fall in your lap. Somebody could be saying that you are, for some of you, you're stressed out and anxious and not sleeping very well, possibly, and very worried about something. People could be talking about the fact that you have great connections. Like the people that you are connected with, they're good connections. You have a great circle that you're connected with that pour into each other. For some of you, people could be saying that you've been betrayed or backstabbed. For some, you are the betrayer and the backstabber. So people could be seeing you as someone not to be trusted. Others, people could be saying that you don't really look or ask for much. You're somebody that likes to do things on your own. You don't like to depend on people, and you work really hard to actually supply everything that you need so you don't have to ask, right? So people see you as very self-fulfilled, like whatever it is that you need, they're saying that you're able to go out and get it instead of asking or begging someone for help. So let's see how you're seeing yourself. How people see you, I don't feel is as important as how you see yourself. But it's always interesting, again, to know, how people are viewing you from the outside in. But at the end of the day, all that really matters is how you see yourself, right? A lot of times that is the reflection that you are giving. Right? It's actually the instruction. How you see yourself is actually the instruction that you're giving, or the permission that you're giving for others to see you. That's not always the case. Sometimes people project, right? They project their insecurities onto you and try to make you be something that you're not. But more times than not, we're like mirrors, right? We project the reflection that comes back at us. So a lot of times it's how we're seeing ourselves that we're projecting out. But let's see, how are you seeing yourself? How are my viewers seeing themselves, Spirit? So you could be seeing yourself as someone who goes deep, Like you're somebody that's not detached from your emotions, and that you're not afraid to cry. You're not afraid to show emotion. You're not afraid to show when you're hurting or when you're grieving. You see yourself as very connected internally. And because of that, there's a level of maturity that you see yourself in. Like you're not afraid to be vulnerable. You could see yourself as very connected with your heart space. Also very aware. Like nothing gets by you. Like you see yourself as someone very alert and attentive. Not only alert and attentive, but you actually even are able to see past. You see yourself as someone who is able to, I almost feel like, look into, you're really good at looking into how things work or why people are doing things. Like you look behind the scenes of what we are showing the world, right? You see yourself as someone that's able to see past what it is that we're trying to show, right? So for instance, if someone walks in the room and they're acting happy-go-lucky, but then there's something underneath that they're trying to cover up, like you see yourself as being able to see past that, the act, that the happiness is really the feeling being felt, but on the inside, maybe saying something different. You definitely see yourself as someone who is balanced, and you could see yourself as someone who is very active and someone who is fluid, right? You're someone who moves. You're probably someone who is very connected to your body, like very energetic, not afraid to, connect with the flow in the moment. You could probably see yourself as someone who's spontaneous, right? I'm seeing someone like in a grocery store and a certain song comes on and you'll bust out in the middle of the aisle and just start dancing and expressing yourself through body language. Yeah. So for someone, you could consider yourself a dancer. You could call yourself a dancer. For some of you, you could see yourself in good physical shape, right? You could consider yourself bodily whole and healthy. You could see yourself as limber physically. You also could see yourself as someone who is easily connected. You could possibly see yourself as someone who you're able to connect with very easily. Some people put up walls, and it's almost like you don't even have to say a word. You could feel it, that there's a wall, right? But you see yourself, and you could possibly present an open door policy for people. Like I'm sensing a lot of compassion. And so you see yourself as someone who should be approachable and should be able to have people come to you and talk and connect easily. You also could see yourself as someone who is very resourceful. Like if there's anything that you need to know, you see yourself as being able to find it with no problem. Or someone who's able to figure it out internally, right? You see yourself as very crafty, someone who very rarely gets stuck in a rut, like you always are able to find what it is that you need. You could also be someone who is able to easily, you see yourself as someone who is never without, options, like someone who could get out of anything, because you are resourceful. Yeah, you definitely see yourself again as someone easygoing. You could also see yourself as someone who has an angelic presence. You can see yourself as someone who was born to connect with water. I'm feeling too, there's some special connection with water. And with owls too. You could be someone who has this obsession or some type of connection with owls. You could also see yourself as someone who is very wise. Like you could be someone who is young and who has the wisdom of like someone twice your age, right? So you see yourself as someone who is before your time. Yeah. Also, you could see yourself as connected with everything. I'm seeing like a bunch of people lined up. I don't know why I'm getting the vision of people standing, connecting hands. Like everybody, it's just a long line of people connecting hands. If you've ever saw that movie by, it's called Us. It's actually a scary movie called Us. And it was about doppelgangers. And there was a particular part in the movie where it showed the doppelgangers connected all around the world, and everyone was holding hands, and there was like some kind of ad, right, that showed that too. I think it was like giving, some type of giving foundation, and their logo was like little stick figures that was connected around the world, but it was like a generic picture, but that's what I'm seeing. Excuse me, I'm seeing a long line of people just connected. So you see yourself as someone who's connected with everyone. Or you could see yourself as someone who is the same. You see yourself as the same as everyone else. You can see yourself as very stable and very strong, like very tapped into who you are. Like there's nothing that you see lacking or missing in yourself. You're very strong as it pertains to your foundation and who you are and your identity and where you've come from. So you see yourself very knowledgeable about yourself. Yeah. You could also see yourself as not afraid to look within, not afraid to stop and take account for where you are on your journey. You're someone who is very connected with life overall, and the meaning and the purpose and the process, right? Very connected with yourself in sense of your path or your journey. You could be someone who understands very deeply what that means. Let's get one more oracle card. You could be someone you could see yourself and be someone that's very nurturing, right? I'm getting the image of a deer, which is known to be very compassionate, very connected and responsible for the offspring. There's this very tight connection with the offspring. And so you could see yourself as very connected to the things and the people that you're responsible for. There's this sense of covering that you see yourself in, like you are the keeper, right, of your home, of whatever it is that you create or that you're responsible for. You have you see yourself in a very high sense when it comes to responsibility. Also open, right, to see things as they are. You see yourself, you could see yourself as a realist, like you're able to see things as they are and accept them like that and have a high level of tolerance and compassion for reality, right? So let's see what it is that you say to yourself. Like, what kind of discussions do you have with yourself? What kind of discussions? And how do you talk to yourself? What do you say? What type of things do you say to yourself? Well, how does my viewer talk to themselves? What is the self-talk like? What type of things do my viewer say to themselves? So immediately I'm getting someone who stands in front of the mirror, right? And has discussions in front of the mirror, kind of like pep talks. Or even more, sometimes it's a pep talk, sometimes it may be a kick in the butt talk, right? But I see you standing in front of the mirror having that discussion about the need or how to move forward or to move through difficulties. Or it could also be that kick in the butt talk about what you should be doing or how you need to clean up your act. And get something together. So very stern with yourself, but also the discussions are encouraging. could definitely be somebody who fluffs yourself up. Someone who actually finds all of the good qualities, and you remind yourself of that. Or this doesn't even have to be that you say it, but this is how you're talking to yourself mentally, telling yourself how good you are, or how amazing you are, how lucky you are, how fortunate you are. And I want to say how blessed you are too, because I have the 7 of Cups down here, which means that you could recognize your position of privilege, right? It's giving me privileged energy. And so that could be part of the way that you talk to yourself, is reminding yourself how blessed you are, how fortunate you are. For some of you, I'm getting flowers, so you could paint very rosy pictures to yourself. So there could be a very positive focus when you're talking to yourself. It may even be at the detriment of reality, right? So you may like to paint rosy pictures when talking to yourself. And that could be from looking at your own perspective and not others. And so you may adjust everything to your own perspective when you're talking to yourself. I'm also getting that you possibly literally talk to yourself in third person. For some of you, that's what I'm getting. Like some of you could literally talk to yourself from third person. And you could talk in terms of hyping yourself up from that third person perspective, as if it was someone else telling you that you're doing a good job, right? Or I see how hard you're working. I'm hearing that too. Keep up the good work. You could keep it one step. For some of you, you could absolutely, in discussing with yourself, you could keep it 100. Like you don't, for some of you, you don't put on the rose-colored glasses, and you don't try to avoid the truth of what it is that you're talking about, the truth of the matter. Like for some of you, it's really cut and dry. And I feel like for those of you that are really cut and dry, it's because you hold yourself to such a high expectation. And it's almost like you look at all sides. There is a level of integrity that you hold yourself to. And so you can't afford to just look at it from the rose-colored glasses. You can't afford to just look at it, you know, from someone else's perspective. But it's like you look at it from all sides and try to get the most balanced perspective when talking to yourself. And you trust yourself, right? Yeah. For some of you, when you're talking to yourself, there's like some confusion I'm getting. And this could be kind of like a little bit of what is the word I want to use? I don't know why schizophrenia. So I almost get a little bit of anxiousness, scattered energy. And so for some, there could be a little bit of hysteria as you talk to yourself. I don't know why that is. Let's find out. So, why this energy when talking to self? Why is this energy coming out when talking to self? What is the Five of Wands here for? Why is the Five of Wands here? So I got the Temperance, the Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. So I almost feel like it could be something like a trauma response, possibly from a mother figure that was really strict. And so this is like the, I'm not a counselor of any sorts, but I know sometimes, depending on the type of relationship we have with those that have cared for us, if it wasn't a healthy one, sometimes it could turn into self-reflection, right? So that character that was inflicted, sometimes we take on that characteristic to continue that cycle and fulfill that. Even after that caregiver has gone on and is no longer a part of our lives, we kind of carry that on. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if it's not that, it could definitely be, I'm getting with the Temperance, which talks about alchemizing. It could be like a chemical imbalance. With the Ace of Pentacles, it could be something health-wise, you know. I'm just reading energy. So, let's see. I know for me, I'm going to really be honest. I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. Sometimes I do find myself a little low on certain elements that we're supposed to have in our body. For instance, I'm going to give you a good example of one that does not, it's hard to get this in the diet that we eat. It's hard to get copper in our diet. And so unless you know the food that will give you that and you eat a lot of that purposefully, chances are, I think there's a lot of us, especially in America, it could be other parts, but I'm just speaking for where I am. We don't talk about natural supplements, right? We talk about just popping a vitamin and trusting the vitamin to give us everything that we need. But the truth of the matter is, what I learned is that vitamins, many of the vitamins that are being sold today are not actually the type of vitamins that we actually benefit from. Like the Flintstones, like how many grew up on Flintstones, right? Yes. Thought they were candy, took a whole bunch of them, right? They were so delicious when I was young, but come to find out that it's vitamins like that that's actually made from rock minerals, right? And rock supplements, things that are made from like rock, which actually does not, that particular element doesn't go well with our bodies, because what happens is we end up passing most of that stuff right through our tracks because we're not able to actually incorporate it. Our bodies are not able to extract because it's the wrong substance, right? And so it's actually living organisms that we need to be pulling our supplements from, right? So instead of going to get, rocks and pulling vitamins, traces of, vitamin C or, out of the rocks, we need to be pulling it straight out of, and vitamin C may not be a good, well, copper, let's use copper. Instead of pulling it out of other forms, we need to be pulling it out of organisms, right? Live plants or fruits. I think we can only get it in plants. I don't know. We could get it in fruits. I'm sure there are some fruits around the world that would offer it. But we need to be getting it out of something that's living so that when we take it, then we can extract from the organism and allow it to be synchronized. I forget the word that Dr. Sebi used to use, but what the word means that it's able to identify it as something viable that the body can use instead of a rock element that the only thing we can do is just pass it through our body. It's something, when we use the organism supplements, it's something that our body identifies as something alive, right? And because it's alive, then it's like our bodies. We're alive. And so we need to pull from supplements and things that are alive so that we can identify with it and pull it in and extract everything out of it that the body needs before excreting it, instead of just allowing it to go straight through because there's nothing there that we can use, because the body doesn't identify with rock, right? It identifies with things like seaweed, seaweed, or vegetables and fruits, right? Hold on one second. I almost feel like somebody don't want me to talk, but I'm just going to keep talking though. But it identifies with things like seaweed and vegetables and fruits, things that are alive, So, going back to what I was saying about the copper, something that we don't normalize when making sure that we have the proper nutrients in our body to function correctly. And copper is one of the things that actually is good to maintain a healthy brain function, right? Because it provides the component, I'll make sure I say this right, copper provides the component that will keep the synapses in the brain sparking and connecting and functioning the way that it's supposed to. And so when we have a lack of copper, everything slows down. And then there's something missing. Then next thing you know, we're feeling like a little slow or a little under the weather or even depressed, right? We're not able to think like we should be thinking on our feet. We're not able to respond like we should. We're not able to get up and maintain a healthy sense of active life like we're supposed to, because there's something missing. And so what happens is we end up going to the doctor and we say, well, I just don't feel like myself. I feel a little under the weather. I'm not sick. And what do? Right? We already know what they're going to do. They're going to say, oh, you're depressed, so let me just give you a little something, right? That's not what we need. We don't need no drugs. What we need is a natural element that's going to pick it on up, right? Something like copper. And so I was saying, when it comes to this being a little, having something in your body off balance that could be affecting how you're thinking, there is simple little things just like that. Eating something that's going to provide a level of copper, just to make sure that that functioning in your brain happens, right? Next thing you know, now you're eating what you're supposed to and everything's good, right? I have a supplement that I take that actually provides, it's a vegan supplement, all natural, from organic matter. and it has like 5 different herbs in it. I think it's watercress, sea moss, like it's 5 different herbs. I can't remember what they are, but you know, I definitely see the difference when I take that. You know, I have to be sure I don't take it at night, because otherwise 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I feel like I'm running up walls. I have that much energy. But yeah, it's just simple things like that that can help. And I know we got off subject, but going back to that feeling of being a little bit, you know, scattered mentally for whatever reason, that might be kind of the type of conversations are jumping off, and that may be something that might be just an easy fix for that. You know, not everything is psychological, right? Sometimes it's something physical that we need to eat just because something's missing in our body, you know. And so let's get a couple of more cards. Somebody is really truthful with themselves, and somebody loves hyping themselves up, right? To step outside of the box, to stand in your power, to do whatever and say whatever needs to be said, even though they might not like it, right? Those are the kind of talks you're having with yourself about keeping it real and possibly seeing things for what they are, right? For those of us that love to, and sometimes I do, I'm a dreamer. I'm also a realist, but I like being a dreamer more than being a realist, because being a realist makes you realize, you know, and accept the ugly, right? Being a dreamer helps you to turn that ugly back into something beautiful, you know? But I'm both. And so I get it. But at the end of the day, we live in a real world. And so at some point, we do have to come back to reality. And so for someone, those are the types of conversations that you're having. It's staying in reality and challenging yourself to overcome and create through that, right? And as things are changing, to stay up with the changes. And then lastly, I do feel a level of, as I was saying in the last spread where we're talking about how other people were seeing you, I do see that you, for some of you, you have lots of talks about love with yourself and compassion and connecting. There's a lot of sweet talking yourself, you know, where some of you it's like, we about to do this, right? For some of you it's like, come on baby, you got this, don't let this slow you down. Like, this is not your first time on the block, you've been here before, you already know how this goes, pick it up, let's do this, right? It's that kind of self-talk where you're just kind of smooth talking yourself when needed, right? And so for yourself, I do see a lot, definitely a lot of good energy out here. And again, you know, take whatever resonates. Not all of it has to apply to you, because again, this is a general reading. I'm reading for different energies that appear on my page. And so but now let's take a look at how Spirit sees you. So we saw how people see you and what they have to say about you. We saw how you actually see yourself and some of the ways that you communicate and identify with yourself. Now let's see what Spirit has to say about you in all this. And I wouldn't be surprised if This is completely different than how people are seeing you, and also completely different than how you're seeing yourself, right? But let's see. Because, you know, Spirit sees the deepest, darkest parts of us, even parts that we've yet to discover about ourselves. There's nothing, and I mean nothing, hidden from Spirit. Whoa. Okay, and so first off, I feel like I have a few cards that came out. Spirit sees you as, I feel like, a breath of fresh air. Spirit sees you in a way that there is a strong calling, a strong directive, a strong gift to actually communicate, right? And this is a strong communication to actually translate what it is that you're thinking, what it is that you're feeling into words. Not just into words, but into words in a way that they're received. It's successful communication, right? There's something sacred. Spirit sees you as some type of instrument of communication where there's like a voice that you speak with that has power, and there's a level of being able to openly say what needs to be said, and it's just received, right? There's a way that you say things. And so I feel like a deep level of like a gift when it comes to communication. There's a sound, like a resonance in your voice. And it could be singing, it could be speaking, right? It could be like poetry or spoken word. It could be some type of artistic way that you express. Excuse me, but more so I feel like it's a gift to communicate. It's a gift to communicate that really brings a level of freedom, a level of fluidity, and almost like it sparks a level of joy and energy, right? And so Spirit sees you as being able to relay what needs to be not just said, but it's so much more behind that. It's the power behind, or the intention behind what is said, right? The voice is just the way, it's the instrument, right? The gift is actually what is being given when you speak. And so Spirit sees you as a vessel of translation, is a good way to put that. Yeah, a vessel of translation. And for someone, Spirit sees you as a warrior, right? There is like a way that you're able to set your boundaries or set up walls around you. It's almost like you have a way of creating a safe space. Um, and so, let's see. Some of these go really deep, so let me just see. Yeah, setting boundaries. And I'm not getting that it's like you know how to cut people off and be real rude. Like, you have a way of, you could possibly tell someone off and they feel like you just blessed them, you know. But you have a way, by the way, the numbers I'm getting are very interesting numbers. I have 10, 30, and 50, right? And 4 and 5 on these cards that were chosen. But you have a way of setting up your boundaries that prevent others from crossing your standards or your threshold, and prevents them from like invading your time and your space and your energy. You know how important that is right now, you know, and being able to set that standard or that boundary, there's a level of smoothness that you have to do that, especially when you are someone that proves to be, you know, beneficial to people. And we have a lot of people like that, that offer something beautiful or something helpful. But at the same time, you know, it's like, okay, yes, the world knows me, you know, talking about celebrities. But, you know, I should be able to go to a restaurant and have a, you know, a bite to eat without having to feel like I have to entertain, you know. There should be a part of, no matter how popular you get or how desired or needed you get, there should still be an ability to have a moment to yourself and not feel like you have to hide, right? It's that kind of energy. Setting boundaries and having like a threshold, a standard, right? But doing it with honor as well, though. And so for you, Spirit sees you as someone who is a great enforcer, you know, of being able to prioritize yourself, you know, and honor yourself too, right? You don't have to be rude when you set boundaries, but it's being able to do that. And in order, I think a lot of times when we come into being able to operate at a higher level with simple things like setting boundaries, there was a learning. We don't just wake up like that, right? But there was something or an experience that, or many experiences for some of us, where we've had to go through it so many times, right? Along with setting boundaries comes first having someone cross your boundaries, or not having any boundaries, or having someone, you know, cross your personal space so many times, you know, to the point where it teaches you that you deserve more, or you deserve a higher level of, you know, honor coming from others, or you just deserve to be able to prioritize yourself, right? And so we don't just wake up being able to operate at the high level of doing these little simple things, but there is something along the way. It's through the experiences that we've learned these lessons, and that we've become, you know, expert in doing these little simple practical things, you know, for ourselves and for others. And so I know for me, just thinking just now, you know, some of the many lessons that I've learned was being able to put myself first without feeling guilty, or not always feeling like I have to say yes, right? Being caught in the trap of saying yes, right? No is not a cuss word, right? And certain beliefs, you know, I have come to understand certain religious beliefs actually can be easily misconstrued, right? As well, this is how you're supposed to be, you know, you're supposed to always have time, you know, you're supposed to always put yourself last, you know, you're supposed to always give, even if it means that your family or you have to do without, you know. But now let me say this with grace: setting boundaries does not mean that you are not spiritual, right? And I could be talking religion, I could be talking just spiritual. Being able to set boundaries, healthy boundaries, and setting personal standards that would allow you to have a threshold of protection and honor yourself and others, right? Does not mean that you don't have a love for God or his people or her people or spiritual people, right? That's not what that means. What that means is that there is a respect for self and for others. And what I always say, I always tell my kids, you know, and teaching them some of the lessons that it took me a long time to learn, is that setting boundaries really it protects you, but it also protects that other person too, you know, because there's a lot of things that happen when you don't set boundaries. At some point, that ship is going to run into the ground. Now, it may be you that get ran into the ground, or it may be that other person, but something is going to get ran into the ground where there is no boundaries. And so it really is set up to protect both parties involved, or if there's more than two, like all parties involved. Boundaries help protect all parties involved, and so it's a good thing. And it doesn't make you any less spiritual, right? In fact, I believe it makes you more spiritual, because it shows that there is a level of value for yourself and for what it is that you have to offer, right? You understand that it's the value, and there's a cost that comes with that as well. And so I know I went off on a tangent with that, but yeah, I could go on and on about that, about how many times I have put up with, you know, disrespect in some cases, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, well, it's going to work itself out. No, no, no. You will not talk to me like that, right? And if you insist on talking to me like that, well, you better start practicing talking to the wall, because I won't be here, right? Or being dismissed or overlooked or marginalized, right? I had one particular instance where I went into this store, and Joann's Fabric, and I went to get me quite a few head wraps, because I like to wrap my head up now. Sometimes I feel like I need to cover my crown. And so I went in and I chose like maybe 4 or 5 different materials that I really liked. And there was a couple of ladies there, and after I grabbed the spools, because you grab the spools and you take them up there and then they'll cut them for you. And I walked up to the counter and I placed before I even placed them there, sometimes you just walk up, and as customer service, being someone from customer service, what I understand good customer service to be is you acknowledge, even if you're not able to get over there and help them right away, at least you acknowledge that you see them, right? And so I walk up to the counter to be acknowledged. Crickets, right? No acknowledgement. There's two ladies behind there. They're older ladies, and they're just talking, chopping it up to each other, And so I was like, oh, okay. And so, I waited. I put my name. They had a little board at Joann's, and you put your name on there, and it pops up on the screen. And so I put my name on the screen, and then she calls me over. So I come over, and I'm smiling. I'm like, how you doing? Yes, I'm asking her how she's doing. Usually as a customer service representative, I know I like to, kind of cut the ice by being a little bit personable. And there's nothing wrong with that if you don't want to do that. It's just one thing that I like to do. But, and so I asked her, how you doing? She said, oh, I'm fine. All this time I'm really feeling like this. I tend to feel like I have a good sense of, feeling people's energy. I may not always say it, but I see it and I sense it. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying sometimes certain spiritual beliefs or religions will have you really twisted and taking a lot of stuff that you really don't need to take, right? There's no reason for it. And so, she cuts my fabric, and I told her the dimensions I wanted, and she cuts it up and rolls it up and gives it to me. And so I'm like, okay, thank you. And you have a night, I'm telling her, being really kind and, interactive. I'm having to be interactive with her because I'm not getting that. And and I understand we don't always have a good day, but if you in customer service, it's just some things that you just do out of being a good customer service rep or a good store representative, you know what I mean? And so, but it's okay, it is what it is. So I take my spools that she cut. And this, mind you, this part of the store where they cut the fabric is in the back of the store, right? So it's like towards the back. And so I take it and I go around, and I'm doing a little bit more shopping, with my little 5 spools. They're in my basket. And so I'm doing a little bit more shopping because I'm thinking about doing a little decorating. So I go over to the flowers, see what kind of flowers they have. I've grown to love sunflowers lately. And so I was looking at some of the different arrangement that they had around sunflowers. And so, I'm just kind of meandering. I'm not in a rush. I don't have nothing to do. So I'm just, skedaddling around the store looking at what they have. And so I make my way on around to the checkout stand. And I'm next in line. And for those of you that know how Joann is made, they have like about 4 different checkout stands. And then there's kind of like an owl that you swindle through. Kind of like Michael's. If you know how Michael's is, they have like it's almost like a maze that they swindle you through to come up to the front of the line before you get service. And along this little owl, this little zigzag owl on the way up to the front of the line, there's products, on the shelves there that you can kind of look at as you're moving up in the line. And so I get to the front of the line, and all of a sudden I see this lady from the back of the store who just helped me in the back. And she's doing something in the front. She's out moving baskets or something, right? She comes all the way from the back of the store to move baskets to the front of the store, And while she's moving baskets, she's kind of side-eyeing me, right? And so when she finishes with the baskets, I'm still waiting. And so she can see me from the front of the store where the doors open, because it's a nice long little walkway along all of the register counters, right? And then on the other side, as you move past the register counters, is the door. And so there's just a clear view where I'm standing. I'm next in line, so I'm right there in the front of the line, waiting to be called to one of the counters to check out. And she's standing after she's arranged all the baskets, which wasn't out of order, right? She's standing there and she happens to stop to talk to someone, but while she's talking, she's looking my way and just kind of, you know, looking at what I'm holding or what I still have in my basket. And I'm just like, this whole time I'm just really, you know, receiving the energy that she's giving me, right? And I'm like, okay, is this lady thinking, is she thinking that she's making sure that I haven't tucked anything in my purse, you know, these little spools that I'm buying? Because the fabric is actually, it's not cheap, it's pretty, you know, it's a nice penny. And she's just kind of side-eyeing me and what I have in my arms, not eyeing me in my eye, but she's looking at what I still have, right? Making sure, I guess, that I haven't tucked anything in my purse. And I'm like, just sitting there, and I'm like, ain't this about a you know what? But I'm like, you know what, whatever, because I'm used to just turning the other cheek. I'm used to just, okay, whatever it is, what it is, right? And so I have that attitude because that's habit for me, you know. It's brushing things off, just letting things go. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm not even finna deal with this today, whatever, right? And so I go up and I pay for my stuff, and I'm like, okay, thank you. And so I leave. But as I leave, I'm on my way home, I'm like halfway home, and I hear Spirit say, no, you need to, it's time to stand up, you know. It's enough of this. It's enough of this not setting good boundaries, not teaching people how you expect to be treated, not honoring yourself in the way that you honor other people, right? And so Spirit made me turn around. And so I go back to the store and I go up to the counter and I said, and I pay for my stuff, you know, I swiped it with my card, and I said, okay. So I said, I'm on my way home. I just left here and I bought these things. And I said, I'm a little disturbed by something. And so I was halfway home and I had to come back because I realized, you know, if no one ever says anything, then nothing changes. And so I let her know what happened in the store and how the lady from the back, in the back of the store, I said, I don't know if that's routine for the ladies who cut the fabric, which I'm almost certain it's not, right? Because usually it's the person who's up at the front register in their free time, you know, that goes and arranges baskets. I said, I'm sure it's not routine for the people in the back to come all the way to the front to organize baskets and to conversate in the front of the store, right? And I said, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm bringing this back. And it was about $40, maybe a little less. I said, because I came to buy some head wraps for my head. I went in the back, I was serviced. The lady wasn't all that nice, but that's okay. We don't always have a good day. I said, but I was still kind. I still spoke. I still asked her how she was doing. I thanked her as I was walking away. All the things that I felt like should have been done for me as the customer coming to spend my hard-earned money, right? Nobody gives me money. I work for it, right? And I said, and so I had to come back and say something, because if we don't say anything, then it never changes. And I said, the reason why I'm bringing this stuff back that I just purchased from your store is because of how I was treated, right? Not only did I get just kind of ant type of service, right? This person comes all the way from the back to eye me while I'm standing in the line and make sure I still have everything that I purchased back there. I guess making sure I didn't steal anything. I said, I don't know if you usually have people in the back of the store come up to arrange baskets and to look at people and monitor, you know. I said, but I didn't like it, right? And she said, okay, well, let me call the manager. So she calls the manager, and I tell the manager what happened as well. And she says, oh, so who was it? And I was like, so it was a lady in the back, and I described the lady. And I said, and I would like for you to let her know that I brought this back and why I brought it back. I said, and again, the reason why I'm saying something, I was almost halfway home and I decided to come back. Because if you never say anything, then it never changes, right? And I wasn't rude. I wasn't nasty. I was very kind and polite, and, you know, and I let them know why I did it. It was personal conviction for me. It was about setting standards for myself and teaching people how to treat us. And I said, and I bet moving forward she will never forget this. And maybe you can have a talk about her and how, you know, you're supposed to greet customers and thank them, you know, all the things that I had to do as the shopper, you know, and not to follow them around the store, maybe because of the color of their skin. I don't know what it was, but I said I didn't feel comfortable with that. And instead of just, you know, just brushing it off and going about my business, which I've done my whole life, right? I said, no, it's time to stand. Right? And so I went back and I took that back. And I tell you that story to say, I know I went way off topic, but I tell you that story to say that it's that kind of energy. We're talking about setting boundaries. We're talking about being called to do things that's going to change the world, you know, just little small acts, you know, that will change things for the person coming after you. And so this was Spirit looking at you in a way where you're able to make a difference in that way by setting a threshold of protection or setting boundaries like that, right? That boundaries doesn't always mean personal, intimate relationships. Sometimes it's as you go out into the world and interact, right? And so that's what I mean when I say honoring yourself and honoring others and being able to set boundaries in a loving yet firm way, but with a higher purpose. I feel like it's what Spirit is saying when he's talking about how you are being seen by Spirit in that way, being able to make that kind of impact, right? And so another way that Spirit is seeing you is as someone who shows an amazing amount of gratitude. Like you are someone, Spirit sees you as someone who is most likely a lover of simplicity. I feel like Spirit is pointing out the fact that you could very well not be a respecter of person or things or form. Like you're someone who has a high level of gratitude and appreciation. You could be someone who prays. So Spirit actually sees you as an intercessor. An intercessor. If you know, you know. There's like a level of reverent appreciation that pours from you with this sacred gratitude. It's like a simple but profound energy that Spirit sees in you. and the ability to stop at any moment and see the value in life, whatever your circumstance is in that moment in time, even down to the very depths of your soul. It's a deep level of connection and deep gratitude for any and everything. And so Spirit sees you as like deeply connected and thankful and grateful and appreciative for everything. And not some Spirit sees you as someone that doesn't take even the slightest little things for granted. And there's nothing that you dismiss as frivolous. Like you hold even the smallest little things as valuable and worthy of attention, right? You could be someone who even gives thanks for water, you know, when you're taking a shower or a bath. You know, it's simple little things like that. And so, and I think that holds power. That's why I said an intercessor, because an intercessor is someone who steps in on behalf of others that may not be able, may not recognize the power of gratitude. And so you're someone who actually stands on behalf of many, right? In this energy of appreciation. And we're talking about an energy, it's almost like a dynamic energy that you have. Spirit is identifying this energy inwardly that's peaceful. And it's actually like a dynamic energy that accelerates magnetic and creative forces in the world. Yeah. I guess it would explain how we say prayer changes things, right? Or the key to manifesting is showing appreciation for what you have right now, for where you are right now. Those two are synonymous. It's that kind of energy. Being able to find contentment in any given situation or moment, and that is the very thing that accelerates you forward, or accelerates the energy, the creative energy forward within the world. And you carry that. Spirit identifies that within you, which is actually a gift. This is a gift too. Yeah. So definitely Spirit sees you as someone not attached. You're detached from form, from the external world in many ways. And because of that, you are a conduit of sorts, right? Yeah. Also, Spirit sees you as someone very intellectual. Someone who, if you guys know what the word innate means, you are seen by Spirit as an innate being. Someone who is intelligent, someone who is very instinctual, and someone who is very much self-controlled too. It's almost like having the difference between having if you've ever saw that movie, this is what's coming up in my mind. I'm seeing a black stallion. Beautiful, huge, powerful, amazing animal. But if it has not been tamed, it's wild. It really has no use, for the power that it holds, right? It needs to be directed, the power. As beautiful and as powerful as that animal is, without direction, it has no purpose, no use. And you're like that. Spirit sees you as that black stallion that has been tamed, right? If I use that word wisely, I don't mean tame as in gullible tame, but I mean tame as in a directed power, a power that is directed, right? And controlled, right? Which makes it, right? Which actually makes it uncontainable in the sense. If you know, you know what I mean. And so that's what I'm seeing. So Spirit sees you as like a black stallion, right? But a tamed black stallion, somebody that is aware of the control that you carry, and somebody that is intelligent, someone that is actually very much in tune with your instincts. That's beautiful. I love that. Spirit sees someone as very what's the word I'm using? So this is clarity is the word I'm getting. Someone who has a great deal of clarity, like you are able to be successful in whatever you do because of the planning that you do, and your ability to adapt and maneuver, especially if things aren't working out. There's like, I'm almost getting like King of Swords energy. King of Swords is very equipped, like very prepared for whatever could arise that doesn't go along with the plan. He's still prepared and ready to actually take that and make it work, right? And so there's a word on the tip of my tongue that's not coming out. Anywho, Spirit sees you that way. And there's a lot of belief here. I'm almost getting like the sacral chakra, which is a very high yellow color like the sun. It talks about your ability. It's about right here. It's like your ability to do whatever needs to be done, and your belief in self. Like there's nothing, you realize that there's nothing lacking in you. You have complete ability to do whatever needs to be done. Self-belief, your self recognizing yourself and your beliefs and the giftings that you have, and you know, nothing lacking within you. It's that kind of energy. And so Spirit actually sees you as a very profound energy that's able to achieve anything. I'm still not getting the word that's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah. Let's see. With that comes the energy of this fearlessness. Spirit sees you as fearless and overcoming. Like, there is nothing that can hold you back? Is there nothing that you can't do? Yeah. And so for someone to have obstacles outside of themselves and inside of themselves and be able to overcome all of them, that's how Spirit sees you. As someone who holds an insurmountable amount of inner strength and willpower. Yeah. You could also be someone who is very good at prioritizing. Yeah, very good at prioritizing and just fearlessly moving through life. Like, I feel like Spirit sees you as having a great deal of belief that things are just going to work out, you know, as they should. And I feel like with this, Spirit also sees you as being heavily connected and grounded as well. I almost get the energy of being connected in the earth, with the earth. Maybe their Spirit sees you as knowing that you are connected with everything, not just other humans, but the animal kingdom as well, in all of its sex, and the plant kingdom as well, right? All of the kingdoms as being connected. You realize that, how everything is working through and with each other, right? In harmony. Let's see. Let's get some more. Yeah, Spirit actually sees you as, for someone, Spirit is seeing you as, I'm getting pioneer energy, someone that's actually planting, possibly planting something new. So Spirit could be seeing you as pioneering. So there's something that you are, you could possibly have been given to bring to the greater consciousness of humanity, something that you're doing that's going to have like, it's like a cause and effect action here that's happening. There's something that you're planting. Yeah. And so for whoever this is, you're some type of planter, or you're on some type of pilgrimage. There's something new that you're setting in motion. Yeah. Maybe an image or an idea, something that's yet to be brought into fruition, but there's like almost like somebody planting something. There's like a seed being dropped in the ground. And so yeah, there's something that you're doing, but Spirit sees you as beginning something new. Yeah, there's something new that you have been given, and you're doing it. For whoever I'm talking to, you're actively doing this. Interesting. I want to know what this is, so let's tap into this one. I'm going to pull out my tarot cards for this one. Okay, I'm back. So I wanted to look and see what's being planted, what this is. Okay, so I got the Hermit, right? Which lets me to believe, let's see, I got the Eight of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands. So I feel like whatever this is, it's definitely a new way of being. With the Hermit, I feel like that's talking about, that's bringing in very spiritual energy. But then with the Eight of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles, I get work, or overall I get like living or be a new way of being, or some new idea that's going to make things easier. With the Eight of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles talks about mastery or work. The Nine of Wands talks about a creative way of doing things, like thinking outside of the box. So whatever this is, it could be bringing in innovative ideas, right? On how to do something that is a necessary part of life, but a different way, maybe bringing in a new energy that's going to make it easier, more sustainable, with ease, creatively, whatever that is. Spirit sees you planting that seed. And I'm going to just let you look at this picture. And it's almost like someone touching the ground. See how it's like a connection with the ground. And the connection is almost kind of like placing some kind of energy into the ground for growth. But that is symbolic for what's being planted. There's something that is being, some type of seed or thought or idea that's being planted, that's being fertilized to grow. Whatever that is. How is Spirit seeing you? Let's finish this off. We're almost done. We're about an hour and a half in. You guys, I already know I'm long-winded. Okay. And how is Spirit seeing? How does Spirit see you? Ooh. So there is something, a lot about gifts, right? And so for someone, Spirit sees you as a miracle. Possibly someone who performs miracles, or, ouch, someone who miracles seem to happen for or around. This is related to like ancient wisdom as well. So there could be a level of, I almost feel like manifesting energy. This is almost like doing something to bring something into being. Holding a level of knowledge, mystic knowledge. And so you could be, and I know this is probably going to be a little woo-woo for some of y'all maybe, but you could be someone who practices some form of divination, okay? And you have the gift to do it, right? And the reason why I say that is there's some people who practice things, right, out of interest that have not necessarily been given that as a purpose to do it. And then there's those that's been gifted with the purpose to do that. It's a difference, you know what I mean? And so Spirit sees you as a diviner, whoever this is. There's a level of wisdom and clarity. There's a level of power that's been handed off here. And it's ancient wisdom. Yeah. So Spirit could see you as someone very focused as well. There's a level of focus that I'm sensing here, and a very strong willpower. Very connected to your inner knowing as well. Spirit sees you as a great manifester. I can't say it no other way. You are a great manifester in Spirit's eyes. There's something about you that has the potential to attract miracles, okay? Yes, I love that. For someone, there is great personal power here. For some of you, Spirit sees you as having a great sense of personal power, and there's a great luminous life force that comes from you that Spirit is identifying. And this great personal power is for overcoming any type of internal afflictions, any type of internal afflictions that may arise within you, right? That personal power. And it almost is giving curse breaker energy, right? Because this personal power that you have to overcome your internal afflictions has the ability to reverse like toxic mental patterns, right? We were talking about mental patterns, and part of the energy that you were possibly dealing with, possibly within yourself. But Spirit sees you as an overcomer in that way. For someone, Spirit sees you as having the ability to go in and reverse those toxic mental patterns, reverse the curse. You are a curse breaker, is what Spirit is saying. And with that reversing of those negative patterns, there is a new life that's springing up as well. And that's the energy of the luminous life force that rises up as a result of this personal power that Spirit sees in you, that you are demonstrating and operating in. Ooh. And of course, the last one, for whoever this is for, you are a wonderful friend. Spirit sees you as a beautiful friend worth having. For whoever this is, Spirit sees you in a great level of energy as it pertains to like support and fun and unity and play. You could have this energy that kind of changes the environment. When you walk into a room, you could have an energy that draws people to you and just makes them feel like they can trust you. You have a very high integrity when it comes to your connections and your relationships. And for me, that almost feels like being very trustworthy. Like, it's someone that you don't have to worry about when you sit down and have a heart-to-heart with them. You don't have to worry about hearing it from another source because they went and said what you told them, or they went and shared, things that should be personal, right? There's a level of trust here that Spirit sees in you. It's very trustworthy and loyal and faithful. Spirit sees you in that light. Wow. That's beautiful. Lastly, I do want to kind of tap in and see what Spirit is saying to you, right? We see how Spirit sees you, right? And what is Spirit saying to you? What type of discussions is Spirit having with you? And then we'll end it right after this. Looks like we'll be ending at about 2 hours. 1 second. Right? Spirit is telling you that you are the sunshine of my life, right? So your discussions with Spirit could be very uplifting and happy, very fulfilling, right? Of course. What should the conversation with Spirit be? Very clarifying as well with the King of Swords. Your discussions with Spirit brings in lots of clarity. Sometimes Spirit busts your bubble with the Tower, right? It can't always be sunshine and flowers, right? There has to be a level of reality, or a level of I want to say correction, right? Spirit could have talks with you about correction, about why things have to happen a certain way and how it's going to possibly bring things back into alignment the way they need to be. And this could be current conversations that you're having with Spirit. This could be repeating conversations that are being had. This could be conversations that you remember, specific conversations or experiences that you've had through conversing with Spirit. The Eight of Wands. I feel like the conversations move things forward fastly. And that makes a lot of sense, because I know for me, when I have conversations with Spirit, it brings in a lot of clarity and details. And it's like, oh, okay, well, why you didn't just say that in the beginning? Let's go, And it just moves things ahead forward, Even if they're not physically moving forward, there's that acceptance there where it takes out the element of time. So when you accept things for what they are, time is no longer of the essence, because it just is what it is. It doesn't matter anymore, The Knight of Pentacles. Let's see, what is this Knight of Pentacles? The Knight of Pentacles. So your talks with Spirit could be about informing you not only of your value or what Spirit sees you worthy of, but it could give you insight on what's coming, right? In this situation, I'm thinking like maybe there was something that you thought you really wanted, and the discussion with Spirit, or there's some type of enlightenment that comes in that lets you know that there's something actually better if you're willing to wait or walk away from what it is that's no longer serving you. Your conversations could be about love. This could be incoming love. This could be love that you are currently engaged in, right? This could even be about you versus you, right? You learning and understanding what it means to love yourself. Take that however it resonates and you apply it to how that fits for you. Yeah. This Conversations with Spirit could be about the support that you have around you. People that support you and are, you know, rooting for your success. This could be energy about what it is that you need clarity about so that you can move forward. It could also be about times or situations where you need to stop and give it some more thought and not just rush into anything, right? Spirit could be bringing up things from the past that needs to be dealt with. Old energies. Let's get a couple more. The Ace of Swords and the Two of Wands. So Spirit could definitely be having discussions right now or in the future, in the past, about you coming to grips with some things before you move forward. And in this case, I know in the last setting, one of the conversations that you were having with yourself, or one of the ways that you saw yourself, had to do with grief, right? And this is almost, I feel like, that kind of energy here. So there could be a conversation that Spirit is having or will have around you processing something that you've yet to acknowledge before you can move into the next season or move to the next thing. There's something that needs to be processed. Yeah. And it's almost like, I feel like Spirit is so amazing and so creative because, first of all, I feel like nothing happens by chance. You know, everything that we go through is purposeful. And so Spirit is very creative in creating situations, especially when we have stuck energy. You know, there's something that needs to be grieved. And so Spirit is very creative in creating a situation that will kind of shake up that energy and bring it to the forefront so that it can be grieved and acknowledged and released. And as soon as that happens, bam, that thing that you've been waiting for 10 years, it just comes in a day, right? As soon as you grieve and release what's been stuck for 10 years, right? Spirit is creative like that. I'm getting that kind of energy. Spirit could lastly be talking about changing the way that you think, changing your mindset. And this could be around money. It could be around your living situation as well. Okay. That's beautiful. I love this for you, for us. All this beautiful energy in the world, okay? So let's see. For who this message is for. Let's see. So you could be a Scorpio. You could be a Capricorn. You could be a Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus. You could be a Libra. You could be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. You could even be a Pisces or a Gemini or Sagittarius, okay? And lastly, those were our signs that came out. And I want to say with Uranus and Pluto, I think Uranus is Cancer. Correct me if I'm wrong if you guys are into astrology. So Uranus is Cancer and Pluto, I want to say Pluto is Scorpio. And I'm going to just get a couple of cards. How can you align with the highest identity for yourself? And we saw a little bit about what that was when we talked about how Spirit sees you. So how can we align with the highest identities for ourselves tonight? So how can we align with the positive identities for ourselves, the most highest? Right. So first of all, Spirit is saying, if you realize that you are not yet, you feel like, you know, this message has been for you, and you realize you're not quite there yet, when we're talking about how Spirit identified you in the earth right now in this time and place. If you realize you're not quite there, some of the ways that you can kind of align yourself with that energy is to, Spirit is saying, take small steps. Don't try to do everything in a day, right? It's realizing that you have a calling, and then, okay, Spirit, what can I do today? What is the first thing? Or if you began and you're in the middle of that process, okay, I realize that's where I need to be, so what can I do next? And not being afraid to ask for help. Like, everything that we have been given to do, the way to do it has been also given and prepared, and it's a matter of connecting, staying connected with your source, and not being afraid to ask or accept help. Sometimes, I love that little, I have about 3 minutes to finish this. I love that little, there's like a little story about how there's this family or this man that gets caught up in a storm and everything gets flooded. And he's praying for God to send help, and God sends a boat, and he's like, oh no, it's okay, God's coming to get me. Then he sends a helicopter, and he's like, oh no, it's okay, God's coming to get me. And then he sends, I forget what the third thing was. I think it was like a boat, a helicopter, and a submarine, or it was something. And he was like, no, God's coming to get me. And so the water rises, and he ends up dying. And so he goes to heaven, and he says, God, why didn't you come and save me? I believed in you. He said, well, fool, I sent 3 people to come and get you. I sent the helicopter and the boat, and whatever that third thing was, I can't remember. And he was like, I sent help, right? And so I feel like this card is saying, don't be too proud or too self-dependent or sufficient to realize that we can't do this on our own. We need help. And many times people are being brought into our lives, or situations are being brought to allow us to get the assistance or the help that we need. But it's using your intuition, though, because not everybody is sent to help. Some people are sent to destroy and to kill, right? But there is those that are sent to help you. And so Spirit is saying, accept help and understand that this is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a one step at a time thing. When you are setting your intentions out there, make sure that you're setting positive intentions and you're expecting positive results, right? And make sure that you get clear on what it is that you are expecting or what you've been called to do. Get clarity on that. One of the challenges that we all have to overcome, right, especially when we start really pursuing the highest call that we realize have been made on our lives, and it's imposter syndrome or self-sabotage or poverty consciousness. That was actually the last card that came out, the 5 of Pentacles, in your discussions with Spirit, right? It's overcoming that, right? Spirit is saying these are some things that are being placed out there, you know, possibly that you might be identifying with, that can help us to lift up a little bit higher, to get closer to what it is that we've been called to do. Also having patience and practicing stillness, right? What does that mean? What does stillness mean? That means engaging in moments of nothingness, right? Turning off the TV, turning off the radio, putting the cell phone down, and just sitting still, closing your eyes if that makes you feel better, but just sitting still. If not 5 minutes, right? If not 20 minutes, at least for like 5 minutes a day, and just allow yourself to be. Allow yourself to be. Feel what's going on in the inside of your body. Is there any part of your body that hurts? Why does it hurt? You know, send love to that part of your body. Stop long enough to actually take account of what's going on. Here, here, and here, right? And so practicing stillness and patience again. Also, this is bringing in that energy of the intercessory. It's talking about preparation, being prepared, stopping to actually connect with your source. Prayer, meditation, or engaging in routines, right? Or rituals. Now this one's for me, right? A routine. Spirit has been saying that so much. And something as simple as a routine could actually cause a huge difference in how you get your day started, on how your week goes, on how your month goes, on how your year ends, right? Routine, preparing, right? Success is preparation, meeting, opportunity. That's what success is. And we're going to leave it there. And then lastly, understanding the energy of generosity, receiving, and withholding. I feel like we're talking about setting good boundaries, and then having a good understanding of, you know, accountability, reciprocation, again, setting good boundaries. And so it's being responsible, basically, with what you've been given. Not just money, but we're also talking about energy. We're also talking about, you know, material things, right? We're also talking about time, anything that you've been given, there's a responsibility around it. And so it's understanding what that responsibility is. And so that is the message for today, that beautiful message. Who are you? That's what I want to know. Who are you? Because Spirit sees you in a pretty high light, right? 6 of Wands energy. You're up there. With that being said, I do thank you for your time and your energy. Again, if you're new, hit that subscribe link, right? Yes. Get those numbers up. Share, like, comment if any of this resonated, if you felt like this was talking about you. Let me know, right? That I'm hitting it on the nose. Let me know. And so I do appreciate you. There's ways that you can actually also contribute to the growth of my channel. You can donate. Or if you are returning, just liking, sharing, or commenting, right? Just to be active. Like any act of generosity is appreciated. Even the like is appreciated. And so however you choose to exercise that support, I promise you it's going to come back to you 10 times fold. And so you support me, right? And then I pass it forward, support someone else, and it just keeps going and going and going and going, right? It's like planting that seed, right? And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and relinquish my video, right? Thank you so much for stopping by. It has been LettiSpeaks Tarot, and I appreciate you so very much, right? Without you, I wouldn't be able to do what I've been called to do. And so, again, thank you for allowing me to speak into your life. I do not take it lightly, and it just means so much to me. And so, yeah, until next time, I'm not sure when I'll come back, but I'll definitely try to come back soon. Until next time, take care of yourself. Reach, reach, reach. All right, bye.